Jungling Basics by Secret Ninja 007. This section is titled The Newbie. I hope you enjoyed. Greetings everyone. My name is Secret Ninja 007 and here I am continuing my Jungle Basics video. Hopefully you watched the previous videos and you learned something about jungling routes, ruins, and masteries, and simply understanding the jungles so you know what kind of creeps you're going to be dealing with. If you haven't watched them, I highly recommend you watch them. Once again, these videos aren't very flashy, they don't have that type of, video appeal, etc. But these are really generally tailored towards those who really want to learn how to jungle, those who are willing to sit through and listen to someone speak and take notes on what they say. It's really the purpose of these. If you're serious about learning how to jungle, here you should learn how to jungle. That is my purpose. So, let's start talking. Jungling basics. The newbie. Now, by the newbie, this isn't a bad thing. What I mean by this is simply someone who is new at jungling. So, type this out. New at jungling. Someone who isn't level 30. Or someone who just has no idea whatsoever what jungling means. So, if you fall under these categories, this is probably the video for you. So, let's start talking. Has a new person coming into the jungle, first of all, you have to get your stuff together. You have to know your routes at least. You have to at least know how exactly you're going to maneuver the jungle. When I first started jungling, I had this issue where I didn't really seem to have a purpose at all. I fairly a goal. I would always just, go from creep to creep, and it seemed very sporadic. I had no idea when the jungle creeps to respawn. Basically I had no control over the jungle, and the jungle was just playing with me. And what you want to do is you want to get your stuff together, and you want to be able to control the jungle itself. So, first keyword I'm throwing out here is sustain. Hopefully this is how you spell it. It's bold, capital letters, make it stand out. Sustain. Okay, what this means is that generally when you're starting to learn how to jungle, sustain is going to be the big point. Once you get into higher levels, you're not going to worry much about sustain because this is going to become natural. This is going to come naturally. This is going to be second. This is going to be something that you do without even thinking about it, But right now, this is what you're going to focus on. You have to survive your jungle. What this means is that you have to make sure you have enough armor. You have to make sure that you have enough knowledge of the jungle. And you have to make sure that you have a team that's willing to help you, or that's willing to understand that you're learning how to jungle, that you are, inexperienced, and that, it's just progressing through. So we'll call this team cooperation. Alright, there you go. So, this is really what sustain means. You have to be able to survive the jungle, you have to have enough armor, you have to have enough knowledge, and you have to have that team cooperation, because that comes ever so handy. Now, one of the best ways to achieve this is to really pay attention to this right here. There you go. Champion select. So, once you're in champion select, once you're deciding what champion, what jungler am I going to pick, when you're barely beginning to learn how to jungle, remember, sustain should be your main priority, just because it's going to be that important to sustain yourself in the jungle. Because if you're not able to complete your route, if you're not able to get to, level 4 by generally 4 minutes is the latest that you should get there. Most junglers get there about 3:40. 4 minutes in, a little late, but not a big deal. And why is this? This is because, let's me turn off both. This is because the other lanes are leveling hecka crazy. Yeah, that's those, especially those solo lanes, usually mid and top. Tap it like that. These people are just sitting in their lane, and they don't worry much about leveling, because jungle creeps, sorry, because minions die all around them all the time. They're just, all they're doing is they're just sitting there. They're focusing a lot on last hitting. They're keeping their eye out and stuff. But leveling isn't really a mindset for mid, top, or any other lane except for jungling. As a jungler, you have to keep up with the levels, keep up with leveling. If you can't do this, when team fights start happening, type this out, what are you going to do? Let's say there's a team fight and you're 2 levels behind because you don't have your routes together, because you can't jungle effectively enough, because for some reason, you can't keep up. So, team fight and you're 2 levels behind, the solo lanes, mid and top, and you're probably 1 level behind the duo lane, then your effectiveness as a jungler has basically been categorized by one word, which is basically failed. You have failed to keep up with the jungle. Give me a second here. Sorry about that. You have failed to keep up with leveling, and this means that you basically become a weak point to your team. Sure, you can say that, hey, I might be fiddlesticks, all I need is level 6. This could be true, but even if so, if people are, say level 8, maybe level 7 through 8, some of them maybe even level 9 by now, because you have a slow clear time, you've gone back too much, you haven't effectively jungled, say you're fiddlesticks, all I need is level 6, and everyone else is level 7 through 9. What's going to end up happening was A, your damage is going to be bad. B, the enemy team will efficiently destroy you. And C, you are going to feel bad. This is basically what's going to happen, because you cannot sustain yourself in the jungle, because you cannot effectively jungle. And so really, get your ruins, and get your ruins and mastery stat. Get your smite and whatever other summoner spell you want. It depends. I really recommend Flash, Exhaust, Ghost. Probably the top 3, but each to their own. Get your runes and mastery set, get your smite up, and make sure you have enough armor. Armor is needed. Armor is a must, because the new jungle hurts a lot. Season 2, you could get by. Let me put it this way. Season 2, almost everyone started with boots and 3 pots. And those 3 potions was enough to sustain to keep you going. You go in there, you finish your route, you have the boots, the 3 pots, nice sustain. Now, 5 pots have become needed. This is what become. 5 potions have become needed, because the sustain is just not there anymore. Now the new jungle hurts. The new jungle is tanky. The new jungle is basically just kind of a survival fest. And so because of that, you have to make sure that that sustain is there, that you have that sustain, that you can effectively clear your jungle route. So, now to help you do that, let us go back to our champion select. And let me give you some tips. I don't know what you want to call this, but what I recommend is you start off with a very, very tanky jungler. Someone that is notorious for being able to sit in the jungle forever and just farm, 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 farm. Why? Because chances are, if you're not level 30, if you're new to the jungle, you're gonna need this tanky jungler. You're gonna need this sustain, because you're just not used to, taking this type of challenge on. basically that's what it is because now the new jungle that's in here, pre-season 3, I guess if you want to call it, this one hurts. This one is not very easy, and this is why if you look at tournaments and stuff, on the same type of junglers are used again and again and again because these are just the most effective ones. So, tank the jungler must. At least I consider it a must. Here are some recommendations off the top of my head. Um, I don't know them all. I don't play very. I used to play a lot. Now I don't. But Nunu. Let's spell Nunu. Good start. Nunu. Consume. Nice armor. His passive makes sure that you don't need blue buff as very much. Very good. He does 2 damage. What more could you want? This guy does 2 damage. This guy's tanky. This guy gains health back. Very nice sustain. Good start off with. Warwick. Warwick has one of the highest sustains in the jungle. Sure, his clear time is very slow, or at least I haven't played him in a while, but Season 2, his clear time was known to be very, very slow. But remember, you gotta make sure you can survive the jungle first. You gotta make sure we have that sustain. So, I recommend Nunu, recommend Warwick. Who else do we have here? If you're feeling, if you're feeling up for it, well, first of all, I lost my train of thought here. Let's go with Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath. I think that's how you spell it. This guy, amazing. His passive, natural sustain. Not much more to say. All these three have very good sustain, have very nice tankiness. Excuse me. And so they're effectively a good way to start jungling because, season 2 Warwick, you could have jungled at like level 1. And you wouldn't need very much because he has that well of a sustain. So I recommend these three. If you're feeling, you're feeling a little challenge accepted mode. I want to take up a challenge. I'd recommend someone like Udyr, Lee Sin, Fiddlesticks. I think that's one word. Udyr, Lee Sin, Fiddlesticks, Olaf, very good. Um, who else do we have here? I think that's probably most of them. Um, I recommend these just because these have in addition to sustaining yourself, they have a different learning cap. For example, Udyr teaches you a lot about positioning, a lot about ganking, and a lot about effectively using his passive. And so here it becomes more of a challenge because you're basically bringing more and more and more things rolling into you. So, also I forgot to mention Amumu. I consider him a very tanky jungler, maybe the way I play him, but Amumu, um, going back to Udyr released in Photo 6, Udyr teaches you a lot about ganking, a lot about positioning, a lot about, proccing this passive in time, knowing, on top of that, how to sustain yourself, but also they have, like, the what's that word I'm looking for? The way these champions are designed is that their jungle is unique. They have different, um, they start getting into a sort of a jungling system, if you may call it, that helps them jungle as long as you learn to use that system effectively. For example, Lee Sin's passive, very good for jungling. His tankiness, very good. But you have to learn how to use that passive. You have to learn how to use, Udyr's passive. You have to learn how to position yourself with fiddlesticks. Olaf, you start using skill shots in your jungling route. It's just they start building up. I'm sure there are a lot more tanky junglers that I forgot. I don't jungle. I don't jungle. Super tanky people very much. I'm more of a ganker. But if you're starting off how to jungle, just remember Nunu, Warwick, Cho'Gath, and Mumu. Very good start. Um, I would even consider Master Yi, but it's up to you. I'd consider Master Yi part of it. I actually made a new account, and I started jungling since level 1, and I jungled that account all the way to level 30. I actually started with Nunu, and then from Nunu, I just played Nunu and Master Yi because they were the cheapest ones to buy, and I just jungled them. Essentially, I got enough RP to buy Nocturne, and I bought Nocturne. But the problem was that I was too low level to jungle him. His sustain wasn't very high, and so I started jungling Nocturne about level 22 plus. And since then, I got him to level 30. And yeah, so I know how it is. At least in season 2, I know how it feels to start in the jungle at level 1. Because let me put it this way: if you can jungle effectively at level 1, this means summoner level 1. Then, once you get to 30, this will be a breeze. It will. If you can jungle effectively at level 1, once you get to level 30 summoner, it will be a breeze to jungle. You won't even have to worry about sustain. You won't have to worry about any of these things. They all just become second nature. Because at level 1, you really learn to value armor. You really learn to value your summoner spell. You really learn to value everything. Just because the jungle is just hecka tough at level 1. Um, I don't know how long this video has gone to, but I think this would be a natural time to stop. Hopefully you've learned something from this. And yeah, I'll probably make another video talking about level 30, or I guess the adept, I don't know what you want to call it. But and then just focus more on different characteristics. But for now, if you're learning how to jungle, learn how to sustain, learn learn how to sustain yourself in the jungle. Make sure you can at least clear the jungle. By clearing, I mean you can get to level 4 and have double buff and not have gone back once. That's usually the goal right there. I'll even type it out. Get to level 4 with double buff without going back. There you go. If you wanna, okay, well, if you want a time limit, I'd say under 4:30. That's probably the time limit for newcomers. Real time, probably under 4 minutes. There you go. Learn this, learn how to sustain yourself, learn your jungle, make sure you get smite. I don't care if you have Nunu or you have what is it, Fiddlesticks, Shaco, all these other junglers that can clear the jungle creeps without smite. Smite is needed because if you find someone that learns how to jungle, they will outsmite you and they will take your buffs and you will hate them for it and there's nothing you can do and you're gonna feel bad. There you go. You're gonna feel bad. So hopefully you learned something from this. If you're new, this is basically all I can think of. I did this on the spot. You can tell by my voice I cut in and out just because I'm trying to run my train of thought. If you have any questions, feel free to post them up in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. So yeah, take care and good luck jungling.